who's been called the man who invented sampling and also been called sampling's earliest innovator. Debbie Marley Marl.
Thank you for such a great introduction. But I guess that makes me old school. No.
Hank's next, so don't worry.
Older school.
All right, here we go. Basically with me, how I got started sampling, me and Roy Shemeda, he's here somewhere. We were sitting in Unique Studio and I was trying to sample a vocal for a chorus and the snare went there accidentally. And I started playing the snare along with the track and it made it sound better. And I was like, we looked at each other like, do you know what this means? Like, we could take any drum sound off of any record, manipulate it, make our own patterns off of it. And immediately, I went and got impeached the president. Because I was, a DJ at the time and a producer coming up, and I always noticed that every time I would play Impeach the President at a party, it was the banger. So I probably made like 10 records with those drum sounds in the same week.
Do you remember what you were using actually as a sampler and as a sequencer?
When I was in Unique, because before, Unique closed down now, so rest in peace, Unique Recording. We was up there, I was using an emulator at that time, but I couldn't afford an emulator. So I had a little one-shot Korg FDD 2000. There you go, buddy. And I was triggering, matter of fact, I bought like 3 of them. They was real cheap, like $150 or something. There was a digital delay and a sampler. Wow. So I used to trigger my 808. I used to use that as the main frame and to trigger my drum sounds out of there. Somewhere along the line, everybody thought I was using a 1200.
It was a 12-bit sampler then.
Right. So everybody thought I was using a 1200.
Right.
So, nevertheless, that stock went up. Because everybody went and bought that, and I wasn't using it. Everybody thought I was using James Brown drums, but I wasn't using it. So James Brown got hot too on the sampling tip. The Korg digital delays and 808 was basically how I made a lot of these early records that a lot of people would say that I pioneered sampling because I was basically the first person to put these samples on a record when everybody was using DMX drum machines, Oberheim, Linn drums, and all that other shit. And me being on the radio, I had to play a lot of bad records before I started producing. That made me become a producer, and it made me want to change the sound of the DMX, the 808, not even the 808, the 808 was popping, but the DMX and the Linn drum sounds. There was too many records out like that. A lot of drum records, a lot of music that my ears just hated. So that made me decide to try to change the sound of the music, and that's how that happened.
Thank you. Go ahead. I'm going to move it down to Hank. So
you're saying I'm old school too then?
yes, I am.
Well, I'm the older school, so just to keep it on the real.
Let's move ahead a little bit. Let's move a little bit forward. Let's talk about the technology of the Akai sampler. Let's talk the technology of like P, second record. Let's talk that. Where'd you go? What'd you use?
Well, first of all, I just want to start off by saying I want to give much credit and homage due to Marley Marl and another gentleman by the name of Herbie Lovebug. I think that those two guys, got my adrenaline going because they was doing things that I didn't think could be done in records. We started out using the Roland 8000 and I don't know if you know about the Roland 8000, it's like you can't do anything for changing the sounds. It gives you stock sounds, and all you can do is basically try to manipulate some of the sounds in a step sequencing kind of a fashion. So you just input some fucking numbers or just input some notes, and you don't know what you're gonna get back. But then you surprise yourself. You go, oh, that's just kind of high. So we was doing that, and that's how we was doing early like BAU tapes. You know, that's when we did Leaders and Kings of Pressure and a lot of the groups that we was working out in Long Island with. But then upon, is that they're gonna fix that thing?
Yeah.
Then upon listening to, you know, some of the records that we heard, I heard the changing of the snare. And so the snare, and Marley brought in the 808 thing. And when I heard that, I was like, I didn't even know what the fuck that was. I thought it was like a bass sound or some shit. They used a bass, some sort of synthesizer. But he actually, you know, didn't. And then I worked with a lot with Eric Sadler. And Eric Sadler showed me that he used the 808 and he just tuned the kick drum on put a lot of decay on it. And it was like, whoa, that was some new shit. So then, you know, we was, you know, making our little beats and our shit I wasn't really happy with it. So I went out and bought the core DDD-1. Alright, and you know, I went to Bruce Wall's house and I saw the same one. I was like, oh shit, I used to do this motherfucker. And the core DDD-1 allows you to, you know, to do two samples. You get the kick and the snare. So all we needed was the 808, sustained 808, and then and then we took, you know, contrary to Marley Marl, he like impeached the president. Well, everybody has their favorite shit, you know. I used to play in the parks, and Funky Drummer was the motherfucker that moved. When Funky Drummer comes on, motherfuckers just like, I don't know what happened. Motherfuckers just start spinning on cement. So that's the thing to say, well, goddamn, this shit's making a motherfucker do this shit. Let me at least try using some of these sounds in this record. So I would, you know, fuck with Funky Drummer. And basically, you know...
Hold on. Was that after It's a Demo?
No, it was actually before. A little bit before, but before. And it's funny because, you know, that particular song is what we did Rebel Without a Pause with. And there was another sampler that was really key for me was the Mirage. And no, not the Insonic, the first one. The Mirage, God, I can't even remember the fucking name of it. It gave you 3 seconds, just the Mirage. That was it, right? It was just Mirage. Okay, it was made by Insonic. I'm sorry, thank you. That's what Chris is here for, he helped me out. So anyway, that particular, I mean, we like that shit so much, you know, we would use that, and that's how we did pretty much. And I consider Rebel Without a Pause to me to be like the thing that makes me here today, because if it wasn't for that shit, you know, that's all I
So we got a little bit of background, we got a little bit of where it was, and I'm going to open it up to the panel, to everyone. Who on the panel is exclusively using just software, just computer-based system right now to do their beats, to do their sampling? Can you comment on that a little bit?
Well,
What the differences that you see from the descriptions, and I'm sure you made an evolution yourself from a non-computer-based system to that.
The first thing I did was on, the first track I ever did was on Jill Scott's first album. I did a track called Watching Me for her, and that was my first production. Jill was like, I want to do a song with you on my record. I was like, bet. I thought she wanted to do a spoken word thing. She was like, nah, I want some beats. I was like, I ain't no producer. She was like, you are now. You got 2 months. And I did that track on an MPC 62 and an ASR 10. And because that was my first step into the production side, I mean, I've been a DJ forever. I've been in and out of people's studios, listening to people lay drums, listening to vocalists, but I always wanted to be the dude to get it first. I could really give